Hi everyone, let's have a look at how Django users work and how we can create a project that allows a user to log in, log out, and see a restricted resource, and that the resource is only available to users that are logged in. So here I'm going to be using virtual environments, so it's important that you have virtual env installed with pip3. I've already done that, so I don't have to do that again. I'm in a directory here called Python project, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new Django project. So I'm going to say Django admin, and I'm going to say start project, and let's call it, what should we call it? My app, no, my project. Okay, then we go to my project, and then I'm going to open Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Here, then, let's say that we have a blog. For instance, let's say Python 3 manage Py, and then we create a new project. So a new app, a start app or create app, I think it's called. And then we say blog. Oh, what is it called? I don't remember. It's start app. Okay. Now we should have a blog here, an application called blog. Now let's go ahead and link the URL patterns of our blog to the project's URL settings here. And if you're using virtual environments like I'm doing, then we need to really do some extra work here so that we're sourcing the virtual environment. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to say, I'm basically going to install Django here, and I'm going to say pipenv install Django and pylint. Okay. Okay. Now we have our pip file here, and then let's source the environment, and then we create basically, we first have to create a virtual environment. So I'm going to say Python 3, a module of virtual environments, create a new virtual environment in this folder. And then we call it my project. In this case, right? It's a my project. Okay. Good. And then we're going to source that basically. Source this bin activate, I think it's called. Yeah. So what we did, we just created a new project with Django, a new Django project, a new app called blog. We created a virtual environment for our project so that the version of Python is set correctly. And then we used pipenv to install our dependencies. Let's just make sure that everything is installed correctly. Yep. Now our dependencies are installed correctly. So we can now go to Visual Studio Code here and tell it where Django is. And we do that by saying select interpreter in Visual Studio Code. And then we say boom, boom, enter interpreter path, then find. And in here, I will just say Python, and then I say virtual environments, my project, bin. We go there and say Python. These warnings should go away like that. Now let's go ahead and create, let's source here as well. Source my project activate so that we're in there. Let's hook these up. Let's say path of blog should read from, let's say import blog. No, we don't actually have to do that. Let's say blog And then we say, there are no URLs here. Okay, let's create a new file here then. New file, URLs, pi. We kind of copy it from here. We don't want the comments. Brb. And then we go here, URLs, boom. For now it's empty. And then we just say, in here, the project's URLs include the blog URLs, like that. Or actually we could use include, to be honest. We just say include, and then we say blog URLs. I like to do this, and include isn't included. So let's go include the include. All right. And then let's go to our settings and then create and include our app there. So we say blog dot apps dot blog config. Boom. Oh, what did I do? Did I delete something from here? Yeah, I did actually. All right, now if we say Python manage pi make migrations, there's no migrations, and then we just say migrate to see what happens there. It creates the basic all the models that are included with our, for instance, the different installed applications, admin, auth, blah, blah, blah. Now that we've done the initial migration, then we have to, actually we don't have to, let's just check if everything's working as expected. I'm going to say Python manage pi run server. That port's already in use. Okay, I think I have another application running somewhere, so I'm going to stop that application. Boop. And now we should be able to do that. Yep. And then I'm going to go here and create a new window for us. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm creating a new Safari window here. And then we say localhost 8000. And then we say, what should we say? Oh, we don't have any URLs really set up. Let's go in here and say URLs. And we want to create a new URL here. And we say path. And we don't have any views. So it's really like nothing, nothing's going to work really. So let's create a view here. And I'm going to say, let's see, let's create a few views. And I'm going to create a view called, we say from Django views, import view. And I'm going to say, let's create a login view, kind of like a special precious resource view that you can only access if you're logged in, and also a logout view. So I'm going to go and say class, and we're using class-based views in this example. So let's say login view, and this is view. And then I'm going to say get, and I think it's self, and then a request, and then args, and kw args. And in here, I'm just going to return HTTP response login view. Okay. Then we're going to say login view, logout view, logout view, and then let's call this one precious view or protected view, maybe protected view. Okay. And then we say protected view. And now that we have the views, let's go to the URLs and say, this is our, let's call it login. The path is login. And then let's import our views here from dot import views. And then we say views dot login view as view. Okay. And name is login. And this is one of the things that usually got me when I started with Django, is that I forgot to actually include name here, and I was getting really strange exceptions. So make sure that you include name. Just don't type login or something. It has to be a name, believe me. Then we go and say logout, logout, and make sure that it is logout view. And then we create this protected view and call it protected. Okay, like this, like this, like this. Now let's go to Safari, and then we say blog login. URL-conf login. Okay, that's all right. Let's have a look and see what we missed. I can see, let's see. Using the URL counts defined in my project URLs, Django tries these URL patterns in order. Blog name, login, blog login. Yeah, it is fine. Slash login. The current admin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe we haven't saved a specific file or something. I don't know. Let's save all the files. All right, it's still not working. Using the URL counts defined in my project's URLs. Okay, let's go to my project's URLs. Boom. And there we're saying blog the URLs, and blog URLs is saying URL patterns. Path is login view, name is login, blah, blah. That seems fine. Let's run the server again and see what happens this time. I'm getting the same error. Isn't this one blog login? Am I missing something here? Blog URLs, path is login, views, blah, blah, blah. I may have missed something. I guess it is. Is it this one? It's just a slash. Maybe it's missing a slash. Yeah, that's right. It's working out good. Okay. Now we got the blog login, and then we get the blog logout, and then we get the blog protected. Okay. Great. Now I think for the login view, we should have a form. So let's go to a blog and then create a new file called forms, py, from Django forms, import form. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And then we go create a login form. We say form login, or class login form. This is a normal form. Oh, what did I miss here? Oh, we could just say form, right? We need, when a user tries to log in, we need a username and a password. So let's say a username is a forms dot. Actually, I think we should just do it like this, because then we can access forms. Otherwise, we could just say import form, and then we say char field as well, import. Yeah, we could do that as well. So we could say user is a char field with a max length of 100, for instance, and password is a char field, and then the widget. Widget is a, then we have to import widget, which is a password input. Is password input like this. Char field. Okay. All right, we got the form. Now, what we're going to do is that the login view is going to be used in both for a get and a post method. So if you have a login with a get method, which means that the user just entered the login screen, but the login screen, just remember that it's going to render a form for the user to log in with. And if the user logs in with that form, then it's actually going to post to itself. So the login view has to have a def get and a def post. So what we were going to do is I'm just going to close all of these because I don't really know which one's which. In the blog, in the views, we have a def. So let's just specify that, how that is going to work. And there's a few things that we have to do in this login view. Let's first define the form that we're using. Let's say we say form class is equal to, and then we import that from dot forms import login form. Then we say this is a login form, And this is not something that I'm like overriding. It's just for ourselves because we're going to use the form class in both post and we're going to use it also in get, and you'll see why soon. So in here, I'm just going to say then, let's create a form while we're doing a get. Then we say a form, let's say that form is equal to our self form class. And then we just create it. And then we return the rendering of, boom, with the request. Then we want to render a template called blog slash. Oh, we don't have templates. Let's create templates. I'm going to say templates or templates slash blog. And in there, let's see, in there, I'm going to say a file. Is it expanded? Yeah. And let's create a login HTML, okay? I'm just going to say login HTML. Let's go and say HTML head, title, login view, body, and then we're going to create a form here. And the method is a post, like that. We create a CSRF token. And then we render, we just imagine that we're going to be passed a variable called form from our view. So I'm just going to say form.asP. There are other as functions here that you could say, I think as div or something you can also do, but I prefer asP because it's just the easiest. And then we do an input. Type is a submit, I think. And then the value, we just say login. Okay. And that is our login template. And I'm here just going to say blog slash login HTML. And then as a variable, we're just going to pass a form of that form. And that's it, really. Is it going to blend? Yeah. All right. That's the login form. And then I'm going to go here and say, okay, that doesn't work so well. I forgot the percentage sign here. All right, that's the username and password. Now, okay, I can just type something in a password. Okay. Now, for this to work, also we need to have a user. So I'm going to stop the server. I'm going to say Python manage py shell. Do I want to do that, or do I want to just? I think we should go to admin instead of all of this. Okay, blog admin. Ooh. Don't I have admin? I have admin here. Right, we should create a super user actually, I think. So Python manage py create super user. Username, okay, Vandat, I say. And then a password or email empty. Password is foobar. Foobar is too short. Bypass it, yeah. All right, now we run the server. So you create a super user using which you can create more users. But you can also log in with the super user. So that's important. And in this case, I'm just going to use the super user as created to be able to log in. So Python manage py run server. I can just go in here, username is Vandat, and then foobar. And I say, yeah, now I have users. So that's really good. So if I go here to blog login, then I should be able to use that van.foobar here to be able to log in when we actually do the post stuff. So let's go to our views, and then we want, you see, at the moment when this does a post, it just nothing just happens because we don't have a def post here. So I'm gonna grab this from here, and I'm just gonna say def post. Okay. And when we've done that, then we should be able to create a form. So I'm just going to say form is equal to self form class. And the data, it comes from the request has post stuff in it. All right. Now we should be able to validate the form. So I'm going to say if form is valid, let's pass it for now. Else. So if the form isn't valid, then we want to maybe tell the user just, return HTTP response. The form is not valid. Yeah, for whatever reason, if validation fails, for instance, the user hasn't provided the correct password or whatever. Well, no, actually, no, that's not, that's still going to be a valid form. But if the user has, for some reason, not provided the value that we actually asked them to do, then it's not going to be a valid form. So then let's go and get the clean data. So we just say username is form cleaned data username, and then password is form cleaned data password. And then what you need to do is you need to authenticate a user. So for that, we need authenticate. And to be honest with you, I've written it down. Where we should get that from is in from Django contrib auth import authenticate and login. We need these two functions. And then we also need logout for later. And in here, we're just gonna then authenticate the user. So I'm going to say user is authenticate, yeah, and then there is so we just say using this request, the username is username and password is password, like that. I really like to put commas here because then it actually gets formatted correctly, so it goes into different lines of code. So I really like that. Now that we use authenticate to authenticate user, then we say if user is not none, so that means that the actual user could log in, pass, and then I say oop, else something pass as well. So if the user has been able to log in, then, or it has been able to authenticate, then we're going to log the user in, log in, and I'm going to say with this request and this user. And then what we want to do here is to just return a response to the user. So we just say return HTTP response. You successfully logged in. Otherwise, we say return HTTP response. You couldn't, or I don't know what to say. You cannot log in with these credentials, something like that. So yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Let's go to login view, and I'm gonna refresh it, login, and I'm gonna say blah 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 blah, and it shouldn't be able to log in, right? You cannot log in with these credentials. But I say vandad foobar. You successfully logged in. And if I send, then you should get a CSR validation failure here, an exception. So the login seems to be working. Now let's go and do the logout. In the logout view, we actually want to see if there is a user at the moment in the system, because if no user is logged in, then you shouldn't be able to log out. So now let's go to the logout view, because it's just a get. I'm going to say user is equal to request user. And then I'm going to say if is instance of user and then anonymous user. Where is anonymous user imported from? Let's I should have a look actually. It's in auth models. Let's import that from Django contrib auth models import anonymous user. So if you're an anonymous user, then we should say return HTTP response. You haven't even logged in yet, so you can't. So you cannot log out. Well, I'm being very verbose here, but you get the idea. Otherwise, we will log the user out here, and we will basically say log this request out, log out request rec, I call it here, and then return HTTP response. You successfully logged out, and then I can see the server's running. Let's go to Safari, and then let's just go to logout, successfully logged out, and if I refresh it, then it says you haven't logged in yet. So that's great. So I have to now go to login. Okay, and I say vandad, and then I say foobar, and I can see you successfully logged in. And then if I say log out, Oh, yeah, let's just log out first, actually. Oh, really? I just logged in, though. Van.foobar. Not now. You successfully logged in. Then I'm going to say log out. Boom. Why does it say that, though? Log in. Van.foobar. You successfully logged in. Okay, what happens if I go to log in again? Van.foobar. And then if I say log out, successfully logged out. Okay, I don't know what I was doing. Anyways, if we're in the login page now, sorry, now we've done a logout as well. That's great, and we can't log out again. That's perfect. Let's go to the protected resource now. Now, for the protected resource, I'm actually going to use a system that is built in, is mixin, is in Django, that allows you to protect a specific resource. So let's have a look at that. You'll see it soon. It's pretty cool. I'm going to bring that protected view a little bit higher up. And then, let's see, I'm going to make it a login required mixin, and that's in auth mixins. So from Django contrib auth mixins import login required mixin. And then you have to make it the first, you have to basically, you need to use that before you use the view, and that's one of the rules. So just say login required mixin. That's the inheritance that has to happen as the first inheritance. And then this thing is really interesting, because what it does is that it requires two parameters. One is the login URL, login URL, and then it also requires a redirect field name, and then we can just say redirect to or something. And I'll explain how this works. Is that if the protected resource, if the user is not logged in, then it's going to use these two fields in order to redirect the user to a login form first. And then after the user is successfully logged in, then the login form, the login view can then use this field to redirect the user to this view. So it basically sends the view's URL to the login form, in this case, into the login URL. So you'll see it soon, no worries. Now let's go to the get here, and we just say user is request user, and then we say if is instance of user is anonymous. So if the user is anonymous, then we just return HTTP response. You cannot access this resource. Otherwise, we say HTTP response, you have access to this. Okay, and that's it. And now we can go here to protect it. You see, it sent me to the login form because it knows that I'm not logged in. Isn't it beautiful? And you see this, it says this redirect to. So what we need to do now is to go to our post here. If we could authenticate a user, if we could log in the user, then we should look at redirect to. We just say redirect to is, and then we have to have a look at our form. We say request get redirect to, and we say if redirect to is none, then we return this. So if you don't have to redirect, then we just say that. Otherwise, we return HTTP redirect like this, and we just say redirect to like this. Perfect. So let's test this out. I'm gonna go to the protected or log out. I'm not logged in, so I can't log out. Then I go to the protected resource here, and it says, okay, you have to go to the login. Then I say, okay, van.foobar, boom. And you see, it sends me now to the protected resource. So it's beautiful. Now I can refresh here and I have access until I go to log out. And then I'm successfully logged out. Now, if I go to the protected resource, I have to log in. And that is it, really. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you.